This month, Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers hopes you can help local law enforcement find some fugitives who are wanted on things ranging from sexual battery to animal abuse.
That's right, and we'll also talk about the largest heroin and fentanyl seizure in Okaloosa County history, and remember, a Crime Stoppers friend and advocate our community lost much too soon.
We start the show with Walton County's search for a missing woman. They're asking for any information regarding the disappearance of Jackie Lee Bunn McWaters back in 2006. The then 33-year-old was last seen in July of that year in the area of Martin Luther King Boulevard in Crestview. McWaters would now be 44 years old, 5 foot 4 inches tall with blonde hair and gray hazel eyes. Anyone with information can contact the Walton County Sheriff's Office or Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers.
And the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is trying to identify this trio of car burglars, and it's actually some really good video, so take a look. It was back on May 14th, about 1:30 a.m. A light-colored sedan seen in this video enters the parking lot of Destin Beach Club. 3 individuals get out, make their way around the parking lot doing, guess what, pulling on door handles. They then smash the window of one of the trucks parked there in the parking lot before taking off. And of course, we'll use this as a good time to remind everyone, please make sure you lock your vehicles, because as you can see just from the video, once they pull on a door handle and it's not open, they move on, but they did end up smashing one of them. So if you recognize any of those, give us a call, 863-TIPS.
Next up, detectives with the Crestview Police Department hope someone can identify this man. He made several fraudulent transactions at the Publix between May 9th and 18th. Of course, the number for Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers anonymously is 850-863-TIPS, and you can also go to emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com or submit a tip via the P3 mobile app.
And next up, the Walton County Sheriff's Office is investigating the theft of 2 tractors belonging to regional utilities. One was stolen at the end of March and one at the end of April. Now, the tractors were taken from 2 different locations along Highway 98 in Santa Rosa Beach. Both tractors are made by Kubota and had stickers with vehicle numbers placed on them by the company. The 2004 Kubota has an imprint on the lift from Sunfade, where a former sticker was located. Now, they're described as a 2004 Kubota L3130DHST, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, and it has the number LA723 on the lift. The second tractor is a 2015 Kubota L3560 with the numbers LA8058 on the lift. So anybody with information about the theft of those trailers, of course, you can contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers anonymously.
Moving now to a missing person, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is seeking information referencing Nicholas Nick Nelson. He was reported missing in November of last year and was believed to have last been seen in the Niceville area. Nick is 6 foot 2 inches tall. He weighs around 170 pounds, has brown hair and hazel eyes.
In our next video, Sheriff Larry Ashley discusses Operation Pay Dirt, an undercover investigation leading to the largest seizure of heroin and fentanyl in Okaloosa County's history.
And in fact, 15 people were arrested and an estimated $7 million worth of drugs were taken off the streets in this takedown of what was called a major heroin trafficking organization.
But as you all know, Okaloosa County is tied with West Palm Beach County as having the most heroin overdoses in the state of Florida. And our folks, law enforcement, state attorney's office, partnered with the DEA, our HIDA group, the Fort Walton Beach Police Department, Crestview Police Department, our organized crime task force, and we said we want to do something about it. We want to put an end to these folks selling poison in our communities. And I'm here to tell you that they hit a big hit. A matter of fact, that for 2018, since February, our overdoses of heroin have dropped dramatically, and it's because of this single effort put a great big dent in it. So let me start with some talking points. The operation is Operation Pay Dirt. It was targeting trafficking, sale, and distribution of heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, MDA, otherwise known as Molly, and other poisons in Okaloosa County. To summarize what happened, this multi-agency investigation began in August 2017 and has culminated to date in the identification and arrest of 15 members of a high-end drug trafficking organization. A multitude of human resources and undercover operations were utilized to infiltrate this organization and bring its distribution operations to an end and its members to justice. As a result of these efforts, search warrants were secured and executed in late February 2018 at 2 locations. The first one was 118 Lake Street, Crestview. It was identified as a stash house, and 698 McDonald Street, Crestview, distribution meeting location for this organization. At the Lake Street, search warrant revealed and we recovered 3.5 kilograms of heroin, which is over 35,000 doses, with a street value of approximately $900,000. One that's more concerning to me and to law enforcement, we seized nearly a kilo, 766 grams of fentanyl, which is over 300 doses of that drug, street value of about $6 million. 1 milligram equal 1 dose in 300,000, or 766 grams, 300,000 doses. 2 milligrams is an overdose. So that's enough fentanyl to kill 150,000 people in overdoses. That's almost the entire population of Okaloosa County. That's a lot of poison in our community that was taken off the streets because of their efforts. Those that are dealing drugs, the message I would send to them is you're not safe in Okaloosa County. You're not safe at all. And that these men and women of the Sheriff's Office, the State Attorney's Office, the police departments, the DEA, the HIDA group, and anybody else in law enforcement will be looking for you. That's our job. We want to find you. We want to hold you accountable. So you're not safe if you're a drug dealer in Okaloosa County. If you're a drug user, I would challenge you to look at what it does. It destroys not just you. None of us live on an island by ourselves. Everything we do affects somebody else. And it usually affects the ones we love the most, the worst. So if you have children or family that you care about, you need to get in a rehabilitation center. You need to re-educate your mind and find some way to get off of this poison, because it's going to kill you. It's going to kill you or destroy your life or put you in prison.
Are there more arrests coming, do you believe?
Yes.
Can you say what role, like Crestview Police Department, the other agencies played in the action that was taken on the warrants? Were they all involved on scene with the warrant service, their SWAT teams, that kind of stuff?
They were invaluable source of information. They're also part of our organized crime task force. They have officers assigned to that. Both of these locations were within their jurisdiction, so the information and street information that they had was invaluable to our task force and team that was working this case.
Were any of the individuals arrested, did any of them give up a fight, or did they all come
I tell you,
surprise them and they just hook them up, or what?
the thing, and I think I have a picture of them all right there, they all are Okaloosa County residents. And I think that's the thing that was most notable to me. They all live here, and they are the largest heroin fentanyl distribution organization in Okaloosa County's history. When you take $7 million worth of poison off the street, that is a big, big effort. And it took a lot of manpower and a lot of resources to make that happen. You don't just go and say you're selling drugs and arrest people. It took a lot of man hours and time to put this case together, and they put it together where it's airtight. These people are going to prison. And
Did any of them resist when you got them? Do you know?
I wasn't there on every arrest. I would suspect they didn't. They're in jail, so if they did, that's what we make tasers for.
And now we're going to run down our first list of wanted fugitives and reminding you that they are wanted as of today's taping date, which is June 6, 2018. And first up is an individual wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office, Jeffrey Brian Way, and he's wanted for failure to register as a sexual offender.
Devin Jordan's also wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for felony violation of probation. Last known address for Jordan was in Defuniak Springs.
23-year-old Kaylin Elizabeth Mitchell, and she's wanted for violation of probation for grand theft and possession of a controlled substance, last known to live on Tanager Road over in Fort Walton Beach.
Roy Nelson Howland is wanted for VOP on an original charge of possession of methamphetamine. He was last known to live on Harry Adams Road in Holt.
38-year-old Billy Leon Thorne, he's wanted for sexual battery and violation of probation for aggravated assault, last known to live on Live Oak Church Road up in Crestview.
Dusty Lee McHouston wanted for VOP for resisting arrest, battery on a law enforcement officer, and possession of a controlled substance.
And deputies are still searching for Njoli Rochelle Johnson. She's 34 years old. She's wanted for aggravated battery, last known to live on Mixon Road in Defuniak Springs.
And Sean Franklin Ruiz will be coming off the show because he has been located.
But we're still searching for Reginald Dwayne Muse, who's 25 years old. He's wanted for violation of probation for grand theft, burglary, and aggravated stalking.
Please contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers if you know where to find Chad Alford. He's wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for aggravated assault and causing the cruel death, pain, or suffering of an animal.
And that's one we really like to get into custody. He's been on the show for a while, too. So next up is 47-year-old Dennis Frederick Taylor, Jr., wanted for failure to appear for fraud, providing false statement, to obtain unemployment compensation and last known to live on Brook Street in Fort Walton Beach.
William Brian Harnish is up next. He's wanted for VOP for possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia.
And Leanne Summer Lawson, who was last known to live in Destin, she's wanted for violation of probation for possession of cocaine.
Lucas Lorenzo Williams was last known to be in Pensacola. He's wanted for armed robbery, and it took place on October 27, 2016 in Defuniak Springs.
A 16,000-pound armored vehicle obtained with a federal grant and housed at the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is an asset for regional SWAT teams and can be a lifesaver in violent or potentially violent situations. The Bearcat means business.
In situations involving active shooters, rescues, violent incidents, a major regional asset for local law enforcement agencies is housed at the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office. A 16,000-pound armored vehicle called a Bearcat. It was purchased in 2007 through the use of a federal Homeland Security grant to be available to regional SWAT teams in Northwest Florida.
It's an armored personnel carrier, so this particular vehicle here can carry up to 10 SWAT operators. It's used also for any type of officer rescues where officers are actively engaged in gunfire.
It's also used in citizen rescues as well, and a Bearcat was even the only vehicle able to get to stranded victims in Texas during catastrophic flooding in August 2017. This May, the OCSO Special Response Team and the Bearcat were called out twice in 2 days. First, to assist with an active shooter murder suspect barricaded inside an apartment in Bay County.
We actually deployed the Patriot on top, which is an elevated platform, and we elevated the platform to basically get access into a second-story window of the apartment.
It was called out again the next day after a man was yelling and pointing a firearm inside a Destin hotel. Lieutenant Allen says having the Bearcat at your disposal can be the difference between life and death for first responders or citizens in certain situations. And often just having it arrive on the scene is a deterrent to further violence, as it serves as a message that law enforcement agencies mean business.
I want to say we've probably had 6 or 7 call-outs in the last year and a half, and 3 of those call-outs, once we pulled this vehicle up, the suspect immediately walked out with their hands up and just basically gave up. So it didn't turn into any kind of elevated type situation with use of force, just the mere fact of the vehicle pulling up. He knew it was serious. He knew it was a SWAT team that was arriving. So I believe it was 3 suspects actually just walked out with their hands up and gave up.
Lieutenant Allen says the bottom line is the Bearcat can be an indispensable, life-saving asset, especially in any active shooter situation.
Moving from the Bearcat to the Marine Unit, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office Marine Unit, in fact, and they also had a Florida Fish and Wildlife crew who recently rescued 2 people whose wave runner flipped over in Choctawhatchee Bay, just north of Crab Island. The tourist who rode with Deputy Robert Wagner happened to lift everybody's spirits with her sense of gratitude and her sense of humor. Take a look.
The 258 are north of Crab Island. Wave runner roll over 2 people north.
I've seen enough George movies.
Got it.
I know.
You're good.
And now I'm never coming back here.
Okay. Okay.
I'm coming back, but I ain't getting in no damn speed limit. Oh, good God.
Would you like a water?
No, I just want land.
It's fresh water.
But it wasn't like she was popping hoopies or nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
She just turned, and she turned too sharp, I guess, and it capsized. We went under, the boat flipped back. What's it called? The Choctawhatchee?
Choctawhatchee.
Choctawhatchee. The day you nearly killed me back in the Choctawhatchee Bridge. Under the Choctawhatchee Bridge. That man, he's only worried about his boat. Thank you. What's your name, sir?
Robert Wagner.
Robert. Bless you. Don't ever rent a boat to the her again. Thank you. Oh, bless you. Thank you.
You
guys are awesome.
You have a better trip.
Thank you, darling. Bless you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
And this is another situation that shows why life jackets are so essential, and we're just so glad that everyone was safe.
Right, and that they had such a great attitude during this. While we're on the subject of the Marine unit and rescues, check out this one that recently made national news. From a distance, Sergeant Brian Parkton thought he spotted the head of a sea turtle swimming underneath the Destin Bridge, but when he got closer to take a look, he saw white fur.
Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. So y'all, is that your dog? Come here.
The 911 reputation Henderson Beach State Park, 72,000 Emerald Fest Park Bridge.
It's okay. It's okay. Come here. Come here. Come on. When y'all notice her missing? I thought she was swimming back from under the bridge, it looked like.
And of course, we all know people who love to take their pets boating with them. And of course, this incident reminds us that life jackets for them is also a good precaution.
Yep, I have life jackets on mine, or also what I can, we have a pontoon boat, but also put a little harness on them, have them on a leash, have them under control.
Keep the puppy safe.
There you go.
And now we're going to go down our second list of wanted fugitives. Remember, if you know where any of them are, 863-TIPS. You can go to EmeraldCoastCrimeStoppers.com or the mobile tips app P3. First up is Timothy James Howers. He's 33 years old, wanted for larceny, resisting an officer in recovery of stolen property, and failure to appear for fraud.
Edward Fountain's wanted for failing to appear as well, but it's for charges of carrying a concealed weapon, possession of weapon or ammo by a convicted felon, possession of a controlled substance, and narcotics equipment, as well as a traffic violation.
And Seamus Mason Cotner Marshall, he's wanted not only by Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, but the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office as well. He's wanted for violation of probation for battery and fraud.
And a violent offender, George Monroe Emmerich II, is wanted by the Okaloosa Sheriff's Office for violation of probation on charges of domestic violence strangulation and aggravated battery.
And this is another one that's been on the show for quite a while. We'd love to get in custody, and that's Alexis Wilmer Mondragon. He's wanted for sexual battery, sex offense against a child, and lewd and lascivious molestation, last known to live on Spencer Drive in Fort Walton Beach.
Tony Gorilla Page Jr. is wanted for failure to appear for grand theft. His last known address was on Bay Street in Fort Walton Beach.
23-year-old Christopher Lee Deans, he's wanted for violation of probation for burglary and grand theft of a motor vehicle, last known to live on Taylor Street in Fort Walton Beach.
Moving over to the Walton County Sheriff's Office, they're looking for Brittany Linnell Sanders. She's wanted for VOP for creating, using, or possessing counterfeit credit cards with intent to use counterfeit information.
And the Walton County Sheriff's Office is also searching for Joshua James Picard, and he's wanted for violation of probation for possession with intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia, last known to live in Defuniak Springs.
The Fort Walton Beach Police Department is trying to track down Juan Marquez. He's wanted for trafficking in stolen property.
And 36-year-old Roderick James Rudderson Jr. is wanted for possession of synthetic narcotics within 1,000 feet of a school and failure to appear for driving while license suspended or revoked.
And a success, Mark Robert Fitzgerald, located since last show.
And another success was Jerry Ray Arms, who was located thanks to a tip. So thanks to whoever called that one in.
Still looking for John Henry Bonner, though. He's been on for a while. He's wanted by the Fort Walton Beach Police Department for grand theft and violation of the Pawnbrokers Act, as well as non-payment of child support.
And deputies are still looking for 34-year-old Daniel Wesley Arthur for felony neglect of an elderly person or disabled adult without causing great bodily harm, possession of a controlled substance by misrepresentation, fraud, forgery, or deception and theft, last known to live in Fort Walton Beach.
Now, recently we were contacted by the instructor of the junior ROTC at Baker School. They wanted some help on an amazing project that the cadets were working on.
They called it a Freedom Shine. It showcases collages of local first responders, including the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office and local military units, combined with major American historical documents.
So take a look at what they accomplished.
So everything that you see, the cadets came up and painted walls. They put the collage together, and then they ran the program when we did the dedication and brought the mayor and the superintendent, all these folks to our school. They ran these things. And so for me as a junior ROTC instructor, that's what's really amazing, is seeing these junior leaders step up and do these amazing things.
I'm at a loss for words. It just makes me so happy because there was a lot of hard work put into this, and it's really patriotic, and I think that it's a good thing for Baker School to have, because we do have a lot of students here that are military kids.
We're kind of like a big military community, so I really think that like the kids or people who come to visit will like really see that and be like, okay, they respect us, you know.
We're very patriotic people in this part of the country, and this is just to show those kids, show everyone who comes through here, you know, all these pictures, everything that we have on the wall, these are all taken locally. Everything is taken locally, produced locally, and the kids really cared because, you know, at a time when people are protesting the flag in this country, we have students who are making the flag and displaying prominently the flag.
I want to join the Air Force and be the cryptologist, linguist analysis, and decrypt languages from other countries.
What's your favorite thing about it?
The whole thing, the finished product.
Why is that?
Just because it looks good and it's something that we can be proud of.
I'm glad to call them my cadets because they care about something bigger than themselves.
Now, the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office was honored to have been asked to supply photos for the Freedom Shrine, and we have to say they did an incredible job of putting it together.
They really did, and they wanted to make sure that some credit also goes out to a long list of cadets, the Crestview Mayor and Baker School Principal, the Crestview Exchange Club, and a special recognition as well for cadets Peyton Horton and Colton Ferris. Well done.
And now, what better time for an ice cream social than the month of June? So Major Ken Lapie, Captain Mark Raich, Sergeant Jeremy Miller, and Deputies Mutaz, Nabolsi, and Pierre Batiste made one happen for the staff and families of Opportunity Place.
They partnered with Mr. Derek Faust. He's the owner and operator of the Fort Walton Beach Baskin-Robbins to host this event and to provide free ice cream to homeless families working to get back on their feet with the help of short-term housing that's provided by Opportunity Place. So we just want to say community spirit and ice cream are certainly one great combination. No doubt.
Always, yeah. And now here comes our last list of wanted fugitives that law enforcement are hoping maybe you can help them locate. And first up on this list is 32-year-old Rebecca Nicole Taylor. She's wanted for violation of probation for possession of a controlled substance.
Also, Samuel Edward Thomas III, last known to live in Shalimar, is wanted for VOP on charges of providing false information to a pawnbroker, false imprisonment, and grand theft.
And Walton County deputies are still searching for 38-year-old Tiffany Michelle Bennett, and she's wanted for violation of probation for possession of a controlled substance.
They're also looking for James Williams, wanted for VOP for possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
And 40-year-old Andrea Jo Myers, last known to live on Gibson Road in Fort Walton Beach, and she's wanted for violation of probation for theft.
Tashawn Coward Sr., wanted for driving with a license suspended or revoked and non-payment of child support. Last known address was on Scranton Street in Fort Walton Beach.
And we don't have a photo of Jeffrey Nelson Grimes, but he's 53 years old, and he's wanted for possession of photograph of the sexual performance of a child, last known to live in Destin.
And this is Ricky Joe Hawkins Jr. He's wanted for VOP for improper exhibition of a weapon, last known to live on Racetrack Road in the Fort Walton Beach area.
Next up is 26-year-old Kendrick Dallas Wilson. He's wanted for violation of probation for possession of cocaine and marijuana, last known to live in Mary Esther.
Daniel Burns, wanted for possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, last known address Eccles Road in Fort Walton Beach.
And the Crestview Police Department is searching for 39-year-old James Jr. Jackson for robbery without a weapon and grand theft, last known to live on Bowers Avenue up in Crestview.
And then moving back to the Walton County Sheriff's Office, they're looking for Bobby Simmons, wanted for felony violation of probation, and they're also looking for Herbert Samuel Duggar for felony violation of probation as well.
And Casey Lynn Sokup is also wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for felony violation of probation, last known to live on 28th Street in Defuniak Springs. Now we're heartbroken at the passing of a member of Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers family, and that is Hugh Kendall. Now Hugh served Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers for more than a decade. Even though he only joined the board actually in 2015, he actually was a big supporter and came to a lot of our events because his wife served as our board chair. But he was known throughout the civic community as an extremely hardworking, dedicated volunteer, giving back all over the community, which earned him, of course, Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers Volunteer of the Year. We'll miss his ever-present smile, his wonderful personality, but we'll never forget the many, many ways he touched our lives. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with his family, and you know, we just thank him for being such a wonderful friend. And we wanted to take a look back of when he actually came and joined us on the show.
2015, I joined Crime Stoppers, and when I joined something, I get involved, and I got involved, and had a lot of contacts that I've made through the Chamber of Commerce. I've been with them for 17 years. And just decided to help out Crime Stoppers, and just went to my friends and said, let's help out, and they did, you know, and it's all just supporting the community, just the community support, you know, and supporting the SO and all the law enforcement officers out there trying to help them out with crimes.
Such a special person, and one of his favorite events was always the annual Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers Crawfish Boil, which if you came out on April 21st of this year, he greeted you at the pay table, and this year was another big success, in part due to him and all the other folks that
Absolutely,
were helping.
and of course we sold out of 1,800 pounds of crawfish and shrimp, and it was a little over 2 hours, I think, that we had sold out. We had sold out completely by 2 p.m. And we raised more than $18,000 for Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers, so we can't thank the community enough for coming out and supporting this event. Thank you to our law enforcement partners who came up. I know the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office had the Bearcat out there. Sergeant Tony Kelly was out there with K9 Rico, and the Fort Walton Beach Police Department also stopped by. Of course, we couldn't do this without our wonderful board of directors and volunteers, and the OCSO Explorers, who literally started at 8 a.m. with the mud bug run and worked all day, worked their tails off all day. So we really couldn't do this event without the community support, the law enforcement support, and of course our board members. But thank you to everyone who came out. Such a wonderful cause, and of course we will be there again next year. Now we want to wrap up with a gorgeous look at the Emerald Coast and all it has to offer, courtesy of one of our main Crawfish Boil sponsors, Resort Quest.
Vacate the average vacation. Forget the itinerary. Unwind as if it were home, but so much better. Do the things you love to do with the people you love the most. Ready to plan your escape? Take the time you deserve and let Resort Quest by Wyndham Vacation Rentals do the heavy lifting. Vacation like you mean it. Vacation differently.